Have you ever had to do something so many times that you just couldn't stand to say or do it anymore? Boredom takes over when there's been too much of something, and then doubt, and then change. But let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk, and I'll tell you what to look out for and how to make sure if you're making a change, it's an appropriate one.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
A few months ago, my wife and I went to a concert, one of our favorite performers. He sang a few older songs and a few newer songs, but there was one song in particular we were waiting for. This was the song that launched his career, and this is the song he's most clearly had to sing for decades. We had a feeling we wouldn't be hearing that one until the end, and we were right. It took until the encore for him to finally play it, and when he did, we could not have been more disappointed. We weren't disappointed because he couldn't hit the notes. We were disappointed because he had changed the notes. My guess was he sang that dang song so often he got bored with it and decided to improve it. My guess was that he also forgot he might have sung that song thousands of times, but we only got to hear it once. Actors are often guilty of the same mistake. After weeks of the same lines, night after night, the words begin to sound stale. The actor changes the lines to freshen up the part a bit, and he or she is lulled into believing that the new lines are even better. I remember being in a play that ran for over 3 months, and after I'd eagerly learned my lines and then performed them many times, I got bored with them. And that boredom convinced me I had a better way of saying my lines, and I decided to improve them. My director didn't necessarily agree with my decision, and he let me know in a hurry. I can still hear his words. Jollis, I know you're pretty talented, but we're going to go with Rodgers and Hammerstein on this particular line. Say it like it was written. We run into the same issue in business. We learn an effective way of performing an activity or explaining a complicated issue, and then we get bored after doing it over and over. After a while, we decide to improve it. The same thing happens when we deliver presentations. Did you ever wonder how people can teach the same materials week after week without getting bored? Well, our approach might not change, but our audience does. With those changing audiences, there comes an assortment of outcomes and personalities, and that makes our jobs anything but boring. Although you may feel as if you've told a story or an analogy one too many times, it is being heard for the very first time by those in front of you. There's another benefit to embracing repetition. You can achieve consistency. Companies work hard on branding messages, and they work just as hard to ensure that legal disclosures can be delivered in a consistent manner. Sometimes there are multiple presenters teaching the same curriculum. Along with other new instructors, an instructor sits through a pilot to learn how the curriculum is to be delivered. The students come to town and they're bowled over by the training. The instructors celebrate those first couple of tough weeks, and each begins to settle into the curriculum. I'm certainly an advocate of each presenter developing his or her own style. What worries me is that due to boredom, a presenter may begin to cross the style line and start to change the curriculum. I'm all in favor of innovating and evolving, but never confuse doing something for the sake of doing it differently with the goal of doing it better. Sometimes the toughest part of our jobs is to not change something simply because it becomes repetitive and personally boring. Sometimes we need to learn to leave well enough alone.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.